So I guess Pastor Dallas Miller wants to tell people that they need to stay out of NA. That's against the traditions of Narcotics Anonymous, is what that is. Any addict can go to any meeting at any time. That's in the traditions of NA. If we read the steps of NA, and we read the traditions of Narcotics Anonymous, because there's the steps, and of course there's the traditions. So tradition 3. This is tradition 3. Of course, Dallas Miller said the NA purists, me, need to stay out of meetings. This is me to rebuke him. This is my retort to the great pastor Dallas Miller. Tradition 3, the only requirement for membership or desire to stop using. This tradition is important for both individuals and the group. Desire is the key word. Desire is the basis of our recovery. In our stories and our experience, we trying to carry the message of recovery to the addict who still suffers. One painful fact of life has emerged again and again. An addict who does not want to stop using will not stop using. They can be analyzed, counseled, reasoned with, prayed over, threatened, beaten, or locked up. They will not stop until they want to stop. The only thing we ask our members is that they have this desire. Without it, they are doomed. But with it, miracles happen. Desire is the only requirement. Addiction does not discriminate. This tradition is to ensure that any addict, regardless of drugs used, race, religion, belief, sexual preference, or financial condition, is free to practice any way of life, with the desire to stop using as the only requirement for membership. One addict is never superior to another. All addicted persons are welcome and equal in maintaining the relief that they are seeking in their addiction. Every addict can recover in this program on an equal basis. This tradition guarantees our freedom to recover. Membership in Narcotics Anonymous is not automatic when someone walks in the door or when the newcomer decides to stop using. The decision to become part of the fellowship rests with the individual. Any addict who has a desire to stop using can become a member of NA. We are addicts, and our problem is addiction. The choice of membership rests with the individual. We feel that the ideal state for our fellowship exists when the addict can come freely and openly to an NA meeting, whenever and wherever they choose, and leave just as freely. We realize that recovery is a reality, and life without drugs is better than we ever imagined. We open our doors to other addicts, hoping that they can find what we have found. But we know only those who have the desire to stop using and want what we have to offer will join us in our way of life. But I guess this is the Narcotics Anonymous basic text there. Basic text written by addicts for addicts. The original. Not the 5th edition, not any of that garbage. The original basic text. How it was written. By addicts for addicts. I guess Dallas Miller has decided that the NA purists should stay out of meetings. Because what? I don't read Living Clean, and I don't prescribe to all the people on Suboxone these days. That I don't condone that type of recovery. Well, the recovery I was taught was in this book right here, Narcotics Anonymous. Complete abstinence from all mind-altering substances. Not replacement therapy, not Suboxone therapy, not methadone therapy, not any of those things. But according to Dallas Miller, the great pastor, I guess what he told me is I need to stay out of NA. Wow. That goes right against the third tradition. That contradicts the third tradition of Narcotics Anonymous, that I can come freely and go freely, that membership lies with me, not with another individual. But according to Dallas Miller, the preacher that loves to bring religion into NA and loves to kick people out of his Zoom meeting on Narcotics Anonymous, if he believes that you're not doing the right thing. The particular day that I was kicked out, I was with Christopher Trapino. We were in the meeting. Pastor Dallas Miller was playing video games, not paying attention to the meeting. Me and Chris were discussing Narcotics Anonymous. Chris brought up that we could read why don't we read a passage from the basic text? Of course, immediately red flags went up. Dallas Miller called Shelly, whatever her name is. She came into the meeting and basically told us if we were going to read the basic text, we were kicked out of the meeting. And that we had one of two choices. We could leave willingly or be kicked out. That's what happened, and that's what went down. And that's the truth that Dallas Miller doesn't want out there, to the public, doesn't want out there in social media. I could bring this out on social media because Dallas Miller wanted to open up this can of worms. Dallas Miller wants to sit there and put his comments out and then block you, which is one of the favorite things, of the keyboard warriors. You know what I mean? Let me say a bunch of hateful, hurtful things and then let me block you. So you can't retort to anything. So you have no course of saying your side of the story. That's what it comes down to. I don't mix, being a Catholic and being in NA. I don't bring those two things and blend them. Dallas Miller does do this with his religion. There was actually prayers said in the meeting. Actually, at one point, me and Chris had to say hello to someone's grandmother during this so-called rogue Narcotics Anonymous meeting. This is the truth. This is what goes on here. This is what goes on here in these Zoom meetings. In these Zoom meetings, you have these monarchs that don't follow the traditions of Narcotics Anonymous. They want to make their own rules. They want to kick people out when they want to. They want to keep people from coming into the meeting. They want to tell you have to have your camera on to go to the meeting. They want to do all these type things, which are directly against the tradition of the fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous, of how it was written. For addicts, by addicts back in the day. For addicts, by addicts back in the day when the basic text was first published and the first edition came out, which is far different from the 5th and 6th, which NAS, the cult corporation, has changed. There was no internet then. They didn't have Zoom meetings. It was all in-person meetings. This whole thing of this pandemic that is going on has changed things where it's made, these individuals into gurus that run these meetings. And that's what I call them. I call them what they are. They're gurus. Gurus with no training or documentation. Because it says that in the basic text. We're not experts on medical stuff. We're not experts on psychiatry. We're not experts on any of those things. There are doctors and people that do that kind of stuff. We're experts on taking drugs and screwing up our lives. But, also what it comes down to is we've learned to live life without drugs. And, what I've learned is to be very observant when I go to NA meetings. And when I see something, I say something. And I put it out there. And if I'm not liked for it, doesn't matter, man. Take it to your buddy, Pastor Dallas Miller, with his Christian Recovery Narcotics Anonymous.